Welcome to this video for round 2 of the Istanbul Olympiad coverage. We had round 2 yesterday, and in terms of match results, there have been very few surprises. Still, mostly the matches were still very uneven, with one side being the huge favorite. There's only been one very big upset, with the Netherlands losing to Venezuela, despite being huge favorites, at least on boards 2, 3 and 4. They outrated their opponents by 300 points at one board even, I think, but they still lost one game and didn't manage to win one. Van Vele even tried for more than 100 moves to break his opponent down, but didn't manage. But this was the only real upset. In fact, the pairing system even brought up some pairings which were rather open, even in terms of predicting a result. For instance, the German team, which is seated, I think, on 9th place or 10th place, around that, not quite sure. They got the team from Georgia, which is very strong, features 4 GMs around 2,600. So Germany was only about 50-60 points better at each board. They managed to win 2.5, but this was rather a close pairing. But all in all, there haven't been so huge upsets. In terms of single results, there has been one big thing going on for the Ukraine team, with Ivanchuk playing his first game and losing this game, which isn't really good news for Ukraine, as Ivanchuk is known to be a very streaky player. If he begins to win games, he might even continue until the end of the tournament with winning and winning and winning. But it also can be exactly the other way around. The last Olympiad, Ukraine won the tournament brilliantly, but Ivanchuk really was, the sort of the engine of this team. Well, maybe an unlucky word. It's not like he was using an engine, but he was sort of pushing them forward with, I think he had like an 8.5 out of 10 or something, a brilliant result. This game, which Ivanchuk lost, won't be my main game, because, frankly speaking, there wasn't happening so much until the end when he blundered. But I want to show this quickly still, how it happened. So I go through the moves rather quickly. It was a Sicilian with bishop b5, and the whole game pretty much looked like White was intent on playing very solidly and not risking anything. You can see that the c-file has been opened, but now we've got this transformation of the position where White has the backward c-pawn, and I think Black is certainly very comfortable here. He has huge pressure on the c-file. White can barely hold this together, and I think it's pretty clear that in this kind of position, Black should have some plan to make progress and finally win the game, especially considering that he's by far the better player. Ukraine was playing I think the United Arab Emirates. Am I correct on this? So this was sloppy preparation by me. Oh no, they played Qatar. Sorry, Qatar it is. Sorry. And Al-Morahiki is a pretty good grandmaster. He had been rated 2,600 before, so he lost a couple of points. So it's not an easy opponent, but Black has a very comfortable position here. But somehow, I don't know, he went a bit astray in the process, and while regrouping the queen side, you see that he's shuffling around a lot on the queen side. He somehow didn't make such huge progress, and if we continue a bit, now it has changed a bit, with Black getting the d5 square, which is also nice for the knight. But also notice that he has got this somewhat weird rook on a4. This rook, of course, makes pressure here on a2, but it doesn't have a good way to return. Black might play b5 at some point and then return with rook a6, c6, but otherwise this rook is a bit, somewhat trapped here on the queen side. And you see that White is now pushing on the king side, and he also doesn't really try to get the rook back, and yeah, white breaks open the king side now and gets a serious counterplay. As I mentioned, I won't get into this in huge detail, but now white has serious counterplay, and he aggressively opened the king side. This might still be very good for black. It's yeah, now grabbed here, but I really want to show what happened at the end, because it was an absolutely unnecessary loss, really. So takes, took here, queen here, and now he played rook c6, and in fact resigned. The issue is what's happening now. Why did he resign? You could ask. I guess because of queen f8. And what should black play now? You got a very simple threat, and also this knight is attacked. In fact, the only thing that black could do is give a couple of checks here. And yeah, now black is out of moves. Still has those two issues. So Ivanchuk resigned correctly, not even awaiting this queen f8 move. So a very unnecessary loss, as black certainly he was very good at various stages of the game. And we can only hope that Ivanchuk yeah, recovers from this, because if he's in good shape, he's always yeah, a very interesting player to watch. He plays very enterprising, interesting chess, so let's hope he doesn't get into some sort of yeah, downward spiral here after this unlucky start of the tournament. Okay, the second brief impression that I want to show from yesterday is excuse me, I need to open up this this game. Oops, sorry. So this is Aronian's first game in the tournament against the team from Bangladesh. They even have a grandmaster on board one, Grandmaster Rahman. And I also want to go briefly through this. This has been some sort of rare line connected with 1d6. And it certainly looked that Levon had a nice position, but I think all in all black defended quite well. We see here that white has gained the bishop pair, with black having captured very early on f3, and white has slightly deteriorated pawn formation, but okay, got those two bishops. So white should be quite okay here. So it continued, and we have now a transformation of the position where white has given up this this bishop, but get some pressure on d6. But you always have to keep in mind that white has 4 pawns against 3 on the king side, and with this kind of formation it's very hard to get a pass pawn. So even if white would win the d6 pawn, then it's very likely that at the end you get something with 4 pawns against 3 on one side, and it's just a draw. So we see that after some further moves, that in fact exactly this scenario happens. Even black got g5, so it's completely symmetrical at this point. The difference is that white is, of course, slightly more active. You can see that he entered with the queen and has got some nicely positioned rook, but still it's hard to imagine that black should lose this game. In fact, white only has one trick here. If we go back here slightly, you notice that white is attacking the f7 pawn, and this might be something that yeah, black should take care of. Let's say just for argument's sake, black would play a move like this here. It doesn't have a specific idea. Then there's this neat little trick. And it's checkmate. A trick you really should sort of remember, because it crops up rather often. So let's continue to the game. Here it looks like black was seeing this idea and preventing it with queen e6, queen c6, and now white took. So this is the way Levon won his first game. Black simply I don't know, overlooked this idea. Here it seemed like he was recognizing it, but he just blundered. He had 25 minutes on the clock, so it wasn't like a huge time trouble. Even in time trouble, the Grandmaster should actually see this instantly. So a bit of a lucky win, maybe. It's not. I think it's very unlikely that he would have won otherwise. But okay, white has a little something. He's more active, but still, I would think a draw is the most likely outcome. So yeah, this was the first win here for Aronian, and the Armenian team managed 4-0 I think yesterday. Okay, for the main game I selected a game by Nigel Short for two reasons. I like the game, and I also like oops yeah, I very much like Short as a commentator, and and as a person. He's always quite outspoken and has got interesting views on various subjects, and it was an interesting game. Brazil was the opponent of the English team, and I see. Well, this is of course a bit irritating. I loaded the game, but it somehow they kept the ratings here. Of course the ratings are not correct. Short is a little bit below 2,700, and his opponent Alexander Fier is 2,580 or something, so very strong Grandmaster. So let's see what happened. Short played 1e4, his usual move. In recent years he always also experimented a bit with c4 and d4, but e4 is his main weapon. Yeah, Fier plays the Sicilian, and Short goes knight c3. Nigel still plays the main lines, but he also experiments a bit with various side lines. So knight c3 and f4 pretty much fits the bill. It's Grand Prix attack. Note that black here avoids an early knight c6, which would invite a pin with bishop b5. So in this configuration, white now has to decide where to put the bishop, and the old, I'm not sure if you can call it the old, maybe the traditional continuation is here bishop c4, but I'm not so sure. But I think this kind of idea with bishop c4, which is sometimes rather crude to attack the f7 pawn, has fallen a bit out of fashion, and focus nowadays has more shifted to putting the bishop on b5. So Short played bishop b5 now. Knight c6 of course is a possible answer now, but then black always has to reckon with this kind of pawn structure change. I'm not so sure if he welcomes this. So in the game he played bishop d7. Here Short played a4, which is interesting. I'm not sure that I saw this before. It certainly has been played. It's not an illogical move or something. Another idea that is possible in this position is to just play bishop to c4 back, so to revert to this plan, but white argues that the bishop on d7 is not a brilliantly placed piece. This is maybe a valid point. You can certainly play this. I think it's better than having the bishop on c8 in this position, as very often black is just more flexible with a c8 bishop on c8, with the possibility to maybe put it on b7 at some point, or sometimes it's just helpful to have also d6 covered. If you play e6 at some point, then d6 might be weak with the bishop here. Okay, but Short played 1a4, this way covering this bishop, and a4 is not it's not bad in a positional way, as it somehow stops b5 in the long run. Black just played a6 here, and now white captured. Yeah, he took with the queen now. Knight d7, of course, also was possible. Would have been bad. And now knight d5, very direct play, just intending to grab the exchange. And this sort of leads to a slight coordination of black's pieces. He played queen c6 now. I think this is fine. Maybe from my taste would have been more to just drop the queen back, I must admit. Simply I think that because the queen controls important squares here, if you think of e6, knight c6. But okay, this is okay. Played d3 now. Knight d7. Yeah, with the queen on d8 you would have been able to play knight c6. This is a huge difference. But okay, it's not a problem. Queen e2. This is an interesting move. The idea is that we can see it in the game. Okay, played e6, and now white can ignore this with a5. This was the idea of queen e2, putting the queen opposite the king, so that if black would grab the knight now, it's a check on the e-file, and black's queen gets lost. So this way, in tactical fashion, white has kept the knight on d5, and black doesn't have so absolutely great options to kick the knight back here from d5. He went long castling now, which now attacks the knight, obviously. But it's certainly a somewhat risky move. I mean, the queen side is slightly compromised already, and it's not a move that, yeah, I for argument's sake would have liked to play. But okay, you can do it. I think it isn't bad. Fier, anyway, the black player, is a pretty original player with sometimes unconventional, yeah, ways of approaching a position. I've played him quite a number of times on ICC and Blitz, and frankly speaking, very often didn't understand a thing what he was doing. He's still playing good in a way, but it's a chess I don't really understand so well. Let's put it that way. Castles, yeah, now it is hanging on d5. So knight e3 needs to go back, and of course he goes to e3 and not to c3 back, because this is just more flexible. The knight has a potential idea to drop to c4. It might support f5, and you also have the option sometimes to play pawn to c4, so it's a good position of the knight on e3. Yeah, black played d5, which is, I think, fairly logical. Castles, and now knight h6. Yeah, looks a bit weird to put it on h6, but I think it's a good idea. You have this idea, for instance, and there also was a slight tactical problem with knight f6, which is this kind of normal looking move. On knight f6, white could play e5, and for example, on this kind of move, you have knight g5, and it's a bit problematic. f7 is hanging, g4 is threatened. It's a bit of an unharmonious position. So knight h6 is perfectly okay. And now white played e5, closing the center. I think in this position black made a slight mistake. He played now knight f5, which looks rather logical, admittedly. I think he maybe should play f6 immediately, breaking up the center, trying for counterplay in the center, and maybe even drop the knight here to put more pressure on e5. I think this is better. If you look at the game, on knight f5, short played c4, and now I think black faces a slight dilemma here. He has got this pressure on d5, and I think he needs to release it somewhat. He cannot really allow white to take on d5. And what should he do? In the game he played d4, which I think is a real mistake. And what else could he do? He could take on c4. But if you look at this position, it might not look so bad at first sight, but if you look at it more closely, you'll see that this is really a problem for black. This c4, oops, no, this c4 knight is just a brilliant piece. It has got all these ideas, so black must watch out for this. At the moment, these squares are covered by the knights, but this also means that you need those knights, 2 knights, to somehow restrict one white knight. It's not a good deal. And white has a very simple plan to improve the position. He can just go bishop here, rook, let's say, to c1 and b4, and the position opens up. You might even consider bishop d2, e1, f2 to get it on this diagonal. And in the meantime, black simply has nothing. He can just sit and wait. He can play f6 maybe, but you can just stay there. Both knights are covering e5. So very good position, and a pretty colorful one by now. Yeah, so taking didn't really help. He played d4 though. I'm not sure, maybe both options aren't great, but I think d4 maybe is even more comfortable for white now. He just went here, and now you see the problem. White will be able to play b4 and open up the b line, and where is black's play? This is the problem. He doesn't have any kind of play. He tried, of course, f6, the only possible source of counterplay, attacking the center and getting this bishop into play. White just pushed forward with b4, and yeah, the b file will be opened. No way around that. Black now took and played queen c7, attacking the pawn, and yeah, it's really uncomfortable. White now has 2 good moves. He played b5 in the game, which is quite good. The alternative was to take on c5, which also would have been very advantageous for white. Black would recapture. You've got this here, with possibilities to go here maybe later, or simply the b file. It's just terrible. Or black could take e5, of course, also a possibility, but then you have got this kind of idea, attacking e6, and if black covers this, you drop back to e4, and then the knight is yeah, just a brilliant piece, covering c5 and intending at some point to play knight d6 even, and still the b file, just terrible. So taking on c5 was also very strong. b5 is fine, however. Black captured e5 now, and white opened up the b file and put a rook there. So black's king is really, yeah, it's really out in the open now. Rook b1, black dropped back to c6, getting a piece to the defense. And here white played rook b6. In fact, here I think he could have played a little bit more decisively with taking on e6. Black was allowing this for the loss of something better. I think this would have led to also a rather quick win. If you look at this, what should black play? Let's say rook d7. You just go here, and what should black do? Something like this. Black is completely tied down. To show a possible continuation, let's say h6, take, and rook b1, and now you just threaten this, and there's no way to stop this. Black just gets destroyed here. It's just a formidable attack. And okay, on queen e6, if black would play queen to d7, then there's more than one good line. One possibility is just to go here and get a6, you get a pawn and still have an attack going. It's maybe a bit of a matter of taste. Queen e6 was certainly strong, but the way that he played in the game, which is rook b6, also is a huge advantage. Yeah, black now played king d7. Yeah, there were alternatives. You could try to cover the pawn on e6 in this way. This was the threat now, after all, the completely winning threat if you ignore it. But here white can also just take a6, and black is pretty much busted. The king is simply, you cannot stand this kind of position. Yeah, in the game we played king to d7, and white now just went knight g5, immediately threatening mate in 1 with queen e6, and also this kind of ideas. Yeah, black has got only this move to take care about this, and I just took the pawn. This is not so much taking a pawn, but also removing a defender of the b5 square, so that this kind of idea comes into play. If this knight would show up on b5, then it's really curtains, I think. So it's not just a pawn grab. Black played rook b8 now, and knight to e4. This is of course a square you dream about. Attacking c5. Yeah, black now took a5, and now the mentioned knight a3 with this knight b5 idea. So black's king is really getting on the heavy fire now. Knight to b3 and knight to b5. Very nice. He grabbed c1, in the meantime attacking the queen so that you cannot take on c7. So just recapture and queen e5. Yeah, and in this position white gave this check and the king dropped back. Here, yeah, short played a very, very nice move, which unfortunately yeah, isn't the technically best one in the position, but it's very nice. I think I couldn't have resisted as well. I would have played this no matter what. He played now knight g5, sacrificing the queen. Yeah, okay, you can really pretty quickly see that black cannot take it, because okay, just queen e2. You've got check on f7, king to c8, and the very nice rook c7 mate. Very nice mating net here, with the knight covering d8, and those pieces, yeah, giving the check. Very nice, very nice. It's just that it doesn't win immediately, which another move, yeah, would have. Yeah, he also could have played the very simple move queen d2. I think it's just a case where you see this nice sacrificing line. It's winning, yeah, it's winning, no doubt about it. It's just that the simple move queen d2 would have just won absolutely instantly with queen a5 coming, and this is just deadly. Black cannot do much. Can play something like this: queen here, king here, and then this is a neat idea. Rook e7, king takes, and white wins the house. Yeah, this would have been just quicker, but what he played is just very very nice, aesthetically very nice, and it's winning. I mean, black cannot take. He has another move. He can cover f7, but still this is a completely winning position for white. So cannot really blame short here for playing this. Okay, he exchanged, and now rook e1. The thing is, white's attack is still far too strong in this position. Even with queens down, black has completely disorganized pieces, and all pawns are weak. So black will lose material shortly, and it's still a huge attack. It's not like sometimes a common mistake you very often make is you have a huge attack, and then at some point you can grab material, and you cannot resist to grab material, like 1 pawn up, 2 pawns up, and it's still not so clear maybe positionally, but you want to grab the material, and then you notice, okay, the attack is over, you have some extra material, and you then, for whatever weird reason, you cannot win the end game. So, but in this position, after the queen exchange, white also has a huge attack going. It's not like he spoiled anything. So rook e1 is attacking the bishop on e5. Black moved this, and now white took on e6. Yeah, black went king to c8. It's pretty amazing that there's no direct mate here. At least I don't think there is. Now I played rook e4. Very strong. And black gave this check. The first kind of reaction in this position, of course, is, hey, white can take it, right? So take here, black recaptures, and then you've got this very beautiful checkmate. The problem is, though, black has this kind of this kind of trick, and it's no checkmate anymore. I think this is still winning if you look at this. This is still an endgame which is completely winning for white, but it's not better than what he played. He didn't took the bishop, he just played king f1, and this simply threatened this mate again. Of course, this mate also. So black can barely keep this together. Here white took on c5. And this is perfectly okay. In fact, here was still here. If you look at this with the computer is telling you rook c7 is a mate in 50 moves or something, but it simply doesn't matter what the computer is saying. You need to find a solution here which is simple and which is winning, and this move certainly does. You take the important c5 pawn, and if you look at this position, it's just a disaster. These pieces are completely astray. The c-pawn marches on, and you've got the rook here on the 7th, pinning the king down to the 8th rank. So it's a complete win. Rook king d8, grab the pawn. Yeah, this is a quite funny move. Why would black get the knight here? I mean, it's completely lost anyway, but it seems kind of funny to put the knight on h2, where it is certainly lost. So yeah, let's see the final couple of moves of the game. It's a really easy technical task now. Yeah, 96, and now white has a very simple mating idea. Pawn up to c6, and then rook d7 mate, and we see this in the game. Yeah, now white also just wants to get this stranded knight. Yeah, the last kind of joke by black here. So if white now is a little bit too hasty and takes here, then it's a stalemate. Black doesn't have a move, but of course short just played this check and can capture the next move. So king here, and you're just a rook up, and you don't need to be an ex-world championship finalist to win this. So a pretty nice victory here for short, and I think this was the only win in the match against Brazil. So he won an important game there to put England to 4 points after 2 rounds. All right, I hope you enjoyed these 2 little game fragments and the main game for the second round. And yeah, I think we can look forward to interesting matches today, and I'll do another new video on round 3 tomorrow morning, I guess, just like today. Yeah, thanks for watching.